low EQ will catch up with you. A low EQ will catch up with you. A low EQ will catch up with you. What is going on, EQ gangsters? This episode is about the struggling EQ millionaire. So check out this story, true story. No names, protect the guilty. So not that this guy would ever listen to the podcast, especially potentially based on a low EQ and not being teachable. And that'd be an interesting conversation too. Is there a correlation between low EQ and someone's teachability? Is there a relationship? What is the relationship between somebody's EQ, emotional intelligence, and their teachability? That'd be a fun conversation. So this episode is sponsored by Filter It Through a Brain Cell podcast. Filter It Through a Brain Cell podcast, which happens to be my wife. What? She is doing a podcast on teaching people how to think. So if you have a friend, family member, a teenager, coworker who wants to learn how to think more clearly, more critically, more logically, have them visit filteritthroughabraincell.com. You can find her on Instagram, on podcast platforms, filteritthroughabraincell.com. So this young guy, millionaire, maybe even multi-millionaire, but not, I don't know if he was a multi-millionaire, but no, he was probably, I don't know, net worth of $2, $3, $4, $5 million. Young guy, like mid-20s young, and killing it. Had a very successful business almost overnight, a couple years old, and the business took off. Well, there's not a correlation or relationship between the amount of money somebody makes and their emotional intelligence. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. This young guy was having tremendous success. His business was growing incredibly, leaps and bounds, all over the place. Also, business growing all multi-states across the country and generating a lot of interest. His different business ventures and stuff were having a lot of success. And then all of a sudden, and I don't know specifically the details, but I do know a lot of the conversation from a number of folks that are in his circle. Due to, I don't know if he was feeling invincible. Hey, I'm starting to make more, I don't know. Again, I've never made a truckload of money like that, but I don't know if once you hit a certain amount of money, some people goes to their heads or maybe he's always been immature, low EQ, and not teachable. I don't know, maybe that's how he's always been and just kind of got lucky, had some business savvy and made some money in a couple years time frame, but low EQ will catch up with you. A low EQ will catch up with you. A low EQ will catch up with you. And in the midst of his peak, really, top of his game, business is growing like nuts, a couple folks were instructed by some very well-informed folks, I highly encourage you to back out of this relationship as quickly as possible. What are you talking about, man? This guy's killing it, ride the train, ride the coattails, so to speak. Help this guy out, become successful, even more successful. The trusted advisors were like, not no, but heck no. Like, we're reading the tea leaves. We've seen this before. This guy's emotional maturity, his EQ, his teachability, the way he's treating other people, right, which is a function of EQ, is I'm telling you, is terrible. Like, run and don't look back. And so this, and there have been multiple conversations that this guy's inner circle has had with him. So this is not like they're just running away and bouncing and not communicating with this successful entrepreneur. No, they've had multiple conversations with him. Hey, bro, like, here's what's happening. Oh, you're just jealous, or you're trying to take my business, or like, no, dude, I'm trying to help you save and continue to grow the business you've got. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to, so starts ghosting him on text. This is somebody that is an integral piece of this guy's business. Integral piece of this guy's business. And this young millionaire is starting to ghost key players on this guy's team, and like to the tune of the guys that are actually running the business and making the business happen. They're getting ghosted by this young millionaire, by the owner of the company. And again, you can't outrun or hide from your low EQ. At some point, it will catch up to you, personally and or professionally. And this guy, so after multiple conversations, multiple attempts at helping this guy out, a number of folks in the inner circle are bouncing. A number of folks that were helping run the company, scale the company, grow the company to even bigger than it was. They're out, done. No love lost, nothing. They're out. And the lesson is, well, there's a lot of lessons in that, right? So, man, self-awareness. Are you that young millionaire? Or are you in the inner circle? Are you aware? Do you have some self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, social management to know what impact you're having on those around you? Do you know how you're being perceived? And another lesson is a deal can change at any time. Another lesson is, do you know the EQ of the people you're getting in business with? And again, don't think that their EQ is not going to impact business. It's either going to be a combat multiplier, a force multiplier, or it could potentially derail the business, whatever you're trying to put together. So just because somebody's great at math, somebody's great at finances, somebody's great at investing, someone's great at business, someone's great at, just understand in my opinion, well, in fact, I one of the books I'm reading right now is called The Emotionally Intelligent Leader by Daniel Goleman. He's one of the OGs of emotional intelligence. He wrote a new book. If you're on YouTube, you can see this, The Emotionally Intelligent Leader. If you're on the podcast, no sweat. You heard it, but he wrote some stats in here. There's some stats in this book that there are some very clear differentiations between businesses and leaders that have EQ and those that don't. Like tangible, real world results that companies have experienced after. So check this out. Let me read some stats to you. So this is again from The Emotionally Intelligent Leader by Daniel Goleman, page 1, between 120 and 121 here. The late David McClelland, a noted Harvard University psychologist, found that leaders with strengths and a critical mass of 6 or more emotional intelligence competencies were far more effective than peers who lacked such strengths. For instance, when he analyzed the performance of division heads at a global food and beverage company, he found that among leaders with this critical mass of competence, 87% placed in the top third for annual salary bonuses based on their business performance. More telling, their divisions on average outperformed yearly revenue targets by 15 to 20%. Those executives who lacked emotional intelligence were rarely rated as outstanding in their annual performance reviews, and their divisions underperformed by an average of almost 20%. Y'all, this is, again, this is, we could think, oh, warm, fuzzy, warm, fuzzy. Listen, warm, fuzzy impacts the hard, not fuzzy, right? The soft skills impacts the bottom line. And, we're not, another one, Simon Sinek said this. We have all these metrics for, and KPIs, key performance indicators for, return on investment and productivity and performance and all this stuff. How many metrics do we have in trust? How many metrics and KPIs, key performance indicators, are there in measuring an executive's ability to develop trust and rapport with peers, right? Assess the trust in relationships, the trust between leaders, the trust between leader and organization and team that they're leading. But but here's the deal. How much does trust impact performance? How much does trust? You guys know, certified in the 5 Behaviors of a Cohesive Team by Patrick Lencioni, and trust is the bottom rung of the pyramid. If you don't have vulnerability-based trust, it will impact your ability to have productive conflict, the ability to have all-in commitment, the ability to have peer-to-peer accountability, the ability to maximize and optimize results. Right, that trust. Well, how do you build trust? Well, emotionally healthy people, in my opinion, will build trust faster and more effectively than people that are not emotionally healthy, than people that have low EQs, low emotional intelligence. So realize that anytime you're doing business yourself on your own business deal, your own entrepreneur endeavor, or you're doing business with somebody else, or you're doing some project with somebody else, don't think for a second that your and their EQ is not going to impact that deal. There may not be metrics for it. There may not be a P&L, profit and loss statement, or balance sheet for that. But trust me when I tell you, your EQ and their EQ is absolutely going to impact that project, that business deal, that mission, that venture that you're doing with somebody else. So that's why, in my opinion, y'all, the EQ, working on your EQ, being intentional is so critical, which, again, super proud of you guys for watching our YouTube channel, listen to the podcast, and encourage others, encourage friends and family to join you in their own emotional fitness journey as well. We'd love to see you at EQGangster.com. For those of you that are ready to level up your emotional fitness program, join us at the EQ Mafia, again, by going to EQGangster.com. And remember, emotionally healthy leaders create emotionally healthy cultures and organizations which create and maximize and optimize outcomes and results.